hope you're living out your life. Wherever you are, I know you make it. Hold on to faith and you'll survive. Wherever you are. close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Ultimates TV. You join us here once again live on Twitch for the final of the 3 Open Cups. We are joining me and SirPigasus once again today for the Swiss stage of the Open Cup number 3. So we're in for an absolute treat. The Ultimates, we're so close to being able to push through to that Birmingham Major. We made an important second place finish in Open Cup 2, Pig. Left us maybe wishing for a little bit more against NRG in the finals. Hopefully today is the start of even more growth for the legendary trio, LJ, First Killer and Chronic, of course. They need no introduction. If you've been following the channel, well, what more is there to say apart from their incredible performances? SirPigasus, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to be back here on the Ultimates broadcast. Of course, like you said, these 3 players have been excellent. It took the entire topic of conversation, essentially, during the GSL stage. The massive improvement that this team had since that first Open. And now with their only defeats in the entire Open being to a certain NRG side, I feel like we can enter this third Open with a lot more confidence, knowing, look, if that's really our only weak point, we're going to be putting ourselves in a very good position, especially because top 4 will be the aim for major contention. Not that, Psycho, I think they'll be settling for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the all-important point, really. When it comes to qualifying for that Birmingham Major, to clinch it, we need a top 4 finish in this Open Cup 3. That's what we're aiming for. That's what we're trying to put ourselves on a pedestal to achieve from this Swiss stage today, in fact, because, of course, the seeding from today's Swiss stage, although it's a top 32 stage at the moment, Pig, ultimately incredibly important for how that future bracket may shape up in the GSL stage. So taking absolutely every standalone game win, let alone series win, is of utmost importance. And for our first series, Pig, it's not going to be a particularly easy one. There's legends on the field on the opposition as well, of course. Garrett G, Squishy Muffins, and I have to try and remember the third, AJ, of course. What was the A lurking around there? I forgot. You know what? There's so much of a little worry that I've forgotten myself. But honestly, legends of the game. No disrespect to them. And I'm hoping this first series is going to be a very, very interesting one.
Absolutely here, of course, Garrett G and Squishy Muffins. They've been teammates for quite some time now. Of course, our enemies this season have seemingly been NRG, and that's just something that has followed the likes of First Killer throughout his career. Garrett G and Squishy Muffins, of course, when they were at the top of their game, as was the likes of First Killer, a lot of FaZe Clan and NRG Grand Finals, shaping up a lot of, I want to say the 2022 seasons, a little bit before that perhaps. It lasted for quite some time, give or take. Also, AJ being a former teammate of First Killer as well. They were an absolute joy to watch together. It was just mechanics upon mechanics upon mechanics. And seeing how they've all grown as players, of course, AJ just reaching the end of his career with retirement, and First Killer looking like an absolute beast in that last Open, dare I say, Psycho. Maybe close to a new peak if he can continue his form, but that's just my opinion being thrown out there. This is shaping up to be a really exciting series.
Absolutely, and for these three players, there is only that one expectation that they're going to go in with that same level of performance, and that's what we expect from them, Pig. That quality, we saw those highlight moments. We saw it wasn't just first killer that was necessarily popping off from front to back. It was an entire team effort, and in fact, looking back at some of those clips that surfaced, we could see just how much confidence the players were entering the pitch with. And I think when we compare that to Open Cup 1, where the team were really just finding their footing for the first time, there was a bit of timidness. The way we were playing was a little bit defensive in terms of the organisation, the positioning on the field. We didn't have any players down the field to make a big difference. Fast forward to Open Cup 2, that narrative completely changes, and it started from that Swiss stage, which we took convincingly without dropping a single game, Pig.
Yeah, it just seemed that bit more calculated. Like you said, they're a bit more on the defensive efforts in that first Open, but I still feel like they were defensively stronger in the second. There was just more purpose and a lot more of their rotation in the attack as well. I mean, every single team was suffering all the way through. They were able to hold on pressure for so much longer than they were able to beforehand, with little punishment until you were facing teams of the likes of Complexity, of the likes of NRG, which gave us a little bit of a run for our money. But speaking of Complexity, for me, that was the series that I think really embodied that difference between Open 1 and Open 2, where had a bit of a tough time in the upper finals of the GSL against Complexity, and, you know, of course, still having those troubles in the upper quarterfinals, but then making the most insane comeback to beat through all those adversities.
Absolutely, and fast forward to today, of course, Complexity is one of our closest rivals that are trying to nudge us out of the way when it comes to qualifying for that Birmingham Major. The current standings, if anyone is curious, NRG Esports at the top of the table. They've already qualified. They can just sort of take their hands off the wheel and just let the car sail forwards. You know, they've got everything sorted from last Open Cup's win. So they're standing at 30 points. Ourselves, 15. Narrowly behind Complexity on 14, 9 Lives on 12, and then Space Station and Evo joint on 10. So it proves just how important these individual Open Cup wins really can be to sort of transform your team's points going forwards.
I think this has been one of the most shocking splits of Rocket League we've had in quite a few seasons. Of course, even at the lower level of NA, you could even argue around that top 16 range. We had some French classic bubble players entering the ranks over here in NA. Of course, there is the whole story behind the likes of SSG, which I think could get its own documentary. And of course, the rise of teams like Evo, which I know Psycho, you will have some words to say for them, but I think people should just stay up to date with your socials for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Team Evo are a team that have just come out from absolutely nowhere, quite frankly. In the European scene, I think this Team Evo roster was expected to maybe fall within that sort of top 32 range, and I think that's doing them a massive discredit. But Speed, Relating Wave, and, oh my goodness, the thirds are just falling out of my brain, Sir Pig. Where's it gone? Arju, that's the one. That's the one. I was imagining the roster of Britallions. I know. I was thinking of Britallions. Shuffleverse coming in as the coach as well. So 2 Italians and 2 English on that roster, and somehow they're pushing their way forwards to a comfortable sort of top 8 end of NA, looking to qualify for the Birmingham Major. Unbelievable story there, and full credit to them.
Yeah, absolutely. But then over in NA, of course, there are all these new talents coming in, these more classic talents from EU having a higher rise in what I think they would call themselves an easier region, but the established still remain at the top. I think they've been dubbed online as NRG2, of course, the current NRG team, which have made 11 entire grand finals in a row. And I'm just going to say that stat again, because I really need you to dissect this word by word, Psycho. G2, including majors, including worlds, have made 11 grand finals in a row. And the Ultimates had them struggling in that last one, forcing them to game 6. And I tell you what, I think if we're able to improve like we did between Open 1 and Open 2, between Open 2 and Open 3, we are having that NRG team on toast. I am sorry. They looked a little bit scared. I've never seen them panic that much. I've never seen them have to shift their game plan throughout a series like they did against the Ultimates in that grand finals. So if you're looking at us right now and being like, oh, NRG are clear, 11 in a row, the top has to fall eventually. And I think we saw those cracks start to show.
Kingslayers, that's what we hope to be, isn't it, Pig? And that's what we dream of. And you're absolutely right in saying that. Our performances against NRG have strengthened as well. Of course, we had the opportunity to play them not just once, but twice in the previous Open Cup as well. So there's plenty of opportunities for us to thrive. And for everyone just wondering about the game that's getting sorted out right now between ourselves and the team of Gas, Garrett, AJ, and Squishy. I know that Squishy is streaming his player perspective as well. There's a couple of delays getting the lobby sorted out, making sure all the players are good to go. I know the game has had a couple server issues here and there, so they might be playing a part as well, but we're trying to get things sorted as soon as we can.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like this has been the perfect first round for us to give us. Listen, there's been a lot of talk about the Bookhold system, the BU system that they use for this Swiss stage and how they seed it into the GSL. But I tell you what, I think it makes for some really entertaining round ones because of the nature of it. Seed 1 play Seed 9, Seed 2 play Seed 10, etc., etc. Whereas previously, it'd be Seed 1 versus Seed 16. And I'm sorry, that doesn't always give the most exciting game. So it gives the opportunity for the likes of the Ultimates to really give themselves a bit of a challenge and a proper warm-up in this first round with the likes of absolute legends on the opposing side.
Yeah, and honestly, I could be going into this series, Pig, and I could be saying, you know, yes, they're just not a team that we're particularly interested in the grand scheme of things. It's not a team that's going to do too much damage to us, but we know the history. We know the legacy of those three giants of the game on the opposition, and they need to be given the credit. Usually we would like to sort of, you know, make sure that we are put on a pedestal, but ultimately GAS a strong roster regardless. They failed to make a top 16 last time around, but moving forwards today, they're looking to potentially even clinch the major at Birmingham themselves. We do have ourselves a game finally, Pig.
Well, if we have a rather long free period, I will read through the requirements for Gas to make major, but the Ultimates looking to give themselves their first real challenge at the early stages of the Swiss stage. AJ already forced to make some play happen in the final third. Chronic fully disrespecting Captain America with the first down, and I tell you what, that's exactly what we love to see here. Okay, you've got to establish yourself early, let them know you're there, and show off what First Killer and LJ are truly capable of. Goal one, and it could be the start of many if they're going to play like that.
Yeah, it's gorgeous textbook control from First Killer off his own backboard, off he sails them at the midway point, and it is a perfect slot into that upper 90 as well, and we look towards that controlling play that First Killer can really bring to the table. We look for those moments of brilliance, and we already have one just over a minute into play.
AJ isn't going to find any players here, only a blue car. Chronic to chase this one forward. He's demoed off. Squishy off the corner. Somehow First Killer gets that second charge inside. They try to find some space. It's going to be a big counter-attack coming from Gas. I'm not sure how Chronic was able to tip that one out, but I think that one should go down as a little bit of a warning shot. Gas so quick there to get that counter-attack going, and that just comes with the experience you have with these three Titans. The Ultimates, though, the shot will shake things up as this series progresses.
Oh, and it's a tough save for AJ to squeeze out his own net. Chronic lurking in that high corner of the field, and Squishy and Garrett drawn out the play. Bish bash bosh, tough angle. He made it easy as you like.
Absolutely, and AJ just had to sit there on the side of his own goal and watch. Think about how he got himself into this position. LJ back off the corner, Chronic lurking, and you do see First Killer waiting right behind Chronic as well to find himself in the quick turn, and it is these little cuts of rotations that they're able to organize between themselves that just make them so much faster than any other team. It's what saw them such great success in that second open. Chronic 2 touches coming off that back wall. It doesn't quite lead to anything yet, but still, that ball just remains in the mixer. And First Killer, even on the back foot, filled to the brim with confidence. He just sweeps this one back forward.
Yeah, AJ with some smart positioning though, and he's found that ball across to Squishy, and LJ with nothing in the tank has sat there and made himself look big, threatened that attack off of the play. And the positioning alone as that ball drifts infield, and it is a nice play for Gas to get themselves on the board.
And this, a lovely touch here for AJ and Garrett G, of course, finding his long-time teammate straight across. A beautiful goal there coming from Squishy at the end of it. And Gas showing us here, they might be retired, but I mean, can you really consider them that when they made the top 16 in Open 1? I know that Direct, personally in all his statistics, has ripped that title away from them, which is why the Ultimates have to be taking them seriously, and so far I feel like they have. It's just that Gas have come out quick out the gates. They are going to have to hold on to this defense first, however. Squishy quick on that challenge. Now it's First Killer having to hold things tight. Garrett G positions himself well. Double tap looming. It's all his boost used, but LJ does well to keep this one out of their ultimate, hold on to their lead, but that one looked like it was going to run that out quick. First Killer clears this one on the goal line, and now a little bit of danger for the orange side.
But hold on, Squishy back in the blue half, trying to be a bit of a menace himself, and LJ scarpering forwards. 0 boost in the tank with an infield flick, and First Killer just floats to one side of that one, but 1 minute left in the play, and Chronic is going to advance from that halfway point. Plenty of numbers at the back to see this ball forwards.
And LJ looming there on that left wall, and crisp first 2 touches to eventually find First Killer. And there's your insurance. Some beautiful passing efforts and fantastic control from LJ. See the Ultimates double their lead.
Yeah, it's gorgeous control from the Ultimates. We saw a couple of close attempts come in from Gas, but the Ultimates, ultimately at the end of the day, knew they had the confidence in that last man to do it all by themselves. They knew they had the confidence going forwards to add to the tally as another shot comes through. And LJ now to try his luck in field towards Chronic, but Garrett, the comfortable block away that time around. But in terms of that sort of continued pace that we could have wished to see, Pig, we are getting everything we could have asked for.
Absolutely. It's been a strong showing from both sides so far, and the fact that the Ultimates are still able to maintain that lead with a bit of class as well behind them. It's exactly how you want to start off your third open here. Of course, Gas have had that time to play together yesterday and the day beforehand, as they do have to qualify through that double elim. Same as the slight advantage they have behind them. Well, the Ultimates do take the first game, contrary to what is said on the screen there. I thought I was dreaming for a second, to be completely honest with you, Psycho. I was like, did I just completely make up those last 5 minutes? Absolutely not. The Ultimates delivered in that first game, and I do just want to talk about that final play we saw there from LJ. Of course, it was a perfect pass, I believe it was, from First Killer, and just 3 touches of pure perfection there on the wall. I know that, Psycho, you are a coach yourself, you are a former professional player, and that feels like the good old school control you'd be begging your players to have in those kinds of positions.
Yeah, absolutely. And it does come down in those opening stages of a series when either team is trying to set a tone. If there is an early sign to a team that is going to be arriving with a bit of strength, to me, it's how you use that space. I think early on when teams are settling into a series, they do just want to hit the ball long. They want to make sure it's out of their own defensive half, and they want to generally just make sure everything is as clean and as risk-free as possible. Did the Ultimates turn up with that in their textbook? Not whatsoever. They're putting on a performance to be proud of. They're pushing forwards in this series at the opening stages like you would expect them to in a grand finals of a competition. It's all guns blazing, and hopefully we can see a second game to our name pretty soon.
And LJ again in that familiar position, coming off that right wall with great control. Gas able to stop it this time. First Killer's shot denied here by his former teammate Chronic. Wiped off the face of the earth, so it is going to be AJ again back on the ball. First Killer off this initially, and you see Squishy here. Lurking just with 0 boost. Chronic, I love the way he's positioned himself on that back wall. And all of a sudden, it's all alarm bells ringing here for Gas. LJ had a teammate as an option, but he just decides to go alone. How much weight has he managed to put behind this ball to beat AJ? Do not know, but still, the Ultimate again take that first goal.
LJ is the world's greatest moving doorstop. I don't know how he made himself that wide and big in the first place, but regardless, you love to see it in situations like that when your back's against the wall in a 1v1. You need to make that defense squirm, and he did exactly that as Chronic now for a double touchdown off the goal line once again. Saved away with a 50-foot first killer to mop up the missing pieces. Then it's 2 within a minute, Pig.
You were squirming. I was squirming. That play was so awkward, but still, first killer, when you need a hero, he'll pop out and tap that one home. It's 2 goals in the first minutes here, and well, we spoke about how impressive the Ultimates were in game 1. They're looking to show us something special here. Straight out the kickoff, first killer doesn't quite make that connection, but you can feel the confidence oozing off this side. And they're consistent as well. It's not like they're being foolish here. I love that bump attempt as well, coming from FK. This is a team that can afford to be so confident, afford to make so many risks, because a low percentage play for the Ultimate is 99% with the quality you have on this roster.
Absolutely, and we saw another near miss. As now LJ's going to try and make something stick this time around with an air dribble off his own backboard. Reminiscent of First Killer's first goal in game 1. Infield pass and a free jump. And Chronic's just gone above the bar. But that bit of confidence was lightning from the Ultimates. And still we march forwards. Chronic infield once again. First Killer underneath and Garrett G to tuck this one towards the side. But everything is looking up for us now, Pig.
Absolutely, but things... The turn here of Squishy is able to pull off this challenge. Has 0 boost. First killer sends him to Greg's, I guess you could say. First killer won't get that second touch, but it will be Chronic off the ceiling. Flip reset attempted. AJ able to find that high angle, but LJ was looming himself. Mechanics after mechanics after mechanics here from the Ultimate. Gas tried as hard as they could, but Squishy couldn't pull off his signature save.
And they got to step on the gas quickly because currently they are stuck in reverse. Looking in their blind spots and they don't even know what's going to hit them before it's already too late. 3-0 to the good for the Ultimates, and at the moment it's almost victory laps in game 2 already as Garrett is going to see this ball back to his own back corner. Squishy now with a solo play chance and has found AJ downfield, but a great save from Chronic to see away the danger. That one against the woodwork. 2 blue players rushing out to make ends meet, and we're still holding on.
First killer again, just like to sneak this one past AJ, and against LJ with just that perfect first touch, making everything possible. First killer's there, but Garrett G will keep it out temporarily. That double commit is going to cause them a lot of issues. LJ had the chance to maybe go for the shot, had more faith and go for the pass instead. Squishy will catch this one on the hook. Well, we've seen those kind of positions all the way through his career, and I tell you what, it's very rare that he misses them, and he's certainly not going to this time.
Yeah, and in the grand scheme of things, it's a freebie for Gas, and that is not ultimately going to be something that they can replicate easily. Very quick breakaway chance there from them, and just a little overextension from the Ultimates, a lapse in concentration, but nonetheless, first killer downfield towards Chronic once again. Follow-up from LJ goes by the wayside to that corner position once again as LJ filters through. Limited boost in the tank, but does enough to force. And as this clock simmers down, we're trying to get a little bit more control on the play. Hopefully we can stay in this orange half. LJ for the double, LJ for the triple, off the crossbar, and he really is showing off.
He really is, and I love that for him. He had so many fantastic goals during the Swiss stage last time. Chronic was more that talisman. He was that metronome player in the centre of the pitch, setting up a lot of the goals here for his teammates LJ and First Killer. But he's had his few moments to shine so far in this series to get things started. We're just seeing the Ultimates look increasingly more as this season progresses, like just a three-man, well-oiled unit. LJ can't drop this one down here to Chronic. AJ, however, We'll just find first killer, back wall, he is looming, LJ's not going to commit early. Knows to wait this one back, and Gas kind of in a stick of bother where they can't force it long, but if they try and stay close, they're going to get insta-challenged by one of the Ultimate's players. And that's just a sign of the amazing positioning we're seeing so far from TU. LJ looking for another backboard read. Chronic somehow threads the needle, but that ball didn't quite have enough forward momentum to sneak through. So maybe on the second chance, maybe on the third. It's Chronic again, but he gets it over. LJ flip reset. What is going on? What is going on? How have we not scored? First killer. What am I watching, Psycho?
Well, as a professional coach, I must let you know that I have absolutely no idea, and I don't care either because I love what I'm seeing. This 3-1 is done and dusted. Double commits left, right and centre. We're seeing calamity in front of the Gas goal line. It doesn't matter ultimately. The Ultimates 2-1 up in the series, Pig.
What was that last 30 seconds? What was that last 30 seconds? Do you know what that game really felt like there, Psycho? We got the 2 goals in the first minute. We gave ourselves, you know, that little bit of leeway, that little bit of insurance. And then the players just went, you know, sod it. Let's have a bit of fun for the next 4. Got super mechanical, got very experimental, used this as an opportunity to, I don't know, joke around in a quote-unquote scrim against some of the 3 greatest players NA has ever seen. It's disrespectful, but I'm absolutely all for it.
Oh, I couldn't tell you what's going on, Pig. It's a confusing world we live in, but one thing is for certain, and that is that the Ultimates are in a league of their own. That layoff is utterly filth.
Maybe shudder a little bit looking at that. I just seeing those 2 Gas players get completely beat off that first ball. And, you know, typically a goal steal, I'm not quite sure how I feel about it. First killer earned that one. And they tried to strat! They just tried to GK strat! Hold on a minute, Psycho! We just saw the AFK kickoff strat! These old heads coming to the time with all these new kickoff strategies. It didn't go to their favour this time, but you love to see it. They're still RLCS fans in their heart of hearts.
And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if the Ultimates, knowing them, are so locked into their own play. They probably didn't even see that moment from earlier. They're just going about their business thinking, jolly good, that's a free ball off kickoff and we're 1-0 up. 4 minutes left and Gas need to give something a little bit more than an AFK kickoff, I'd say, Pig.
Certainly, but, you know, 1 goal difference. Still a bit of space to come back from. A little bit harder when it's 2. And when first killer's playing like that, admittedly. Let's peek this one again. LJ dummies it here for first killer. Oh my goodness, they're just too good. They are just too good. What do you mean he bailed away from the double tap? Oh my goodness. Do you know how much faith and love you have to have between your team to do something like that? This team is dirty to watch. I have also noticed there's a Batmobile on the pitch, so Gas are really thinking they're GK. Of course, they had the miracle run to qualify for the major. It is still technically possible for Gas, and I guess they're trying to use some of that energy in this game. It's just not happening. The Ultimates are ridiculously strong.
Yeah, and first killer just shadowing this ball away for a bit of possession. And 3 minutes 30 on the clock, and as Gas tried to recreate some moments of glory earlier on from the European Open Cup 3, which GK managed to clinch that major. Also importantly, against the most unlikely of competition, the Ultimates are just doing their own thing. They're having a playground all to themselves, and LJ, it must be his 4th or 5th opportunity towards net, maybe in the last 2 minutes alone, as first killer squeezes this ball out of defence with a big hefty boom downfield now, and Squishy looking pretty awkward.
And first killer looking to take full advantage of that as he snipes LJ, and these infield passes have such a high success rate in this series. The way they're just able to snipe each other on the pitch is something I've not seen a team do this accurately and this successfully, this consistently in quite some time. And this has been existent ever since game 1. Hold on a minute. This would be a great showing if it could go back to LJ either way. Chronic was waiting right behind. Garrett will bail away from that play, but first killer, no boost, no problem, into that bottom left corner, and they will somehow keep their sheets clean.
Now first killer out of defense. He's got Chronic there to work with as well, as AJ's just going to leg it back as soon as possible. No risks attached, but they're going to need to throw something into the play because we're already past that halfway point, and for Gas it's looking ever more unlikely. They know it themselves, they know it in their hearts, and they've thrown themselves towards the play, but first killer still, the pace absolutely there. The ultimates rip one towards that right-hand corner.
And AJ gets those 2 touches. It's Garrett G trying to find Squishy on the redirect, but first killer instead will just get the backboard read to clear that one out. I mean, he freestyles just for simple clearances. This is the level of consistently he has mechanically, and now it's a 2v1 versus AJ. AJ, to be fair, does well to get that first ball. Both LJ and Chronic wanted it initially, but at the end of the day, first killer is just seemingly inevitable. It's a 4th goal thrown in. And dare I say, with 100 seconds left to go, we might be able to call the series.
And I've got to be honest with you, Pig, this is one of the most terrifying Swiss stage performances I've seen in a very long time. We have given Gas simply no solid opportunities in the last few games, right? And we're talking about legends of the esport right here. First killer now is going to try and look to show off himself once again. Touch up high, flip reset underneath. The keeper goes flying above. Thinks it's going to be played first time as LJ with a pre-flip back towards our own corner. 360 touch from Chronic, up to the air once again and underneath. LJ wraps around towards the right-hand side. Maybe an opportunity for a 5th. I don't even know what's going on, Big, but I like the look of it. First killer down off the ceiling. That's going to be 5. Call it a day.
I mean, just look at this. First touch, come off the ceiling, get another. Is he in free play, or is he against a team that's 2 out of 3 world champions? I cannot believe what I'm witnessing here. You spoke about... Oh, hold on. AFK kickoff strat. The timer doesn't go down yet. They went for something there, Chronic and LJ. I'm not quite sure what, but it didn't quite come together. But like you said before... Chronic throwing it at his own net. First killer saves it. Like you said before, this is such a scary performance. And for me, the reason that this is so scary and other teams should look at this team with fear is because the Ultimates, not only are they decimating Gas, a team filled with complete legends that can still compete. They made a main event. They're doing it with almost no discipline. They are just having fun like it's boys versus men, which is a typical phrase we use in football. But this isn't a bunch of boys. It's AJ, Garrett G, and Squishy. It's just the Ultimates are so many levels ahead that they can just have fun. They can just mess around for the full 5 minutes. And they can just still beat a team of basically world champions.
As these seconds tick down, Gas. I know many people might be looking at this series and thinking that we have made an absolute mockery of this roster. But of course, it has been an absolute pleasure to see some of the greats with us in this lobby, Pig. Of course, Gas have many more an opportunity to try and progress forwards through past that top 32 stage. I know there were glimpses in Open Cup 1. Sadly, they failed to make top 16 in Open Cup 2. But nonetheless, from our perspective, Pig, that was a perfect start. And moving on through the bracket, it's going to be anyone's game in terms of what we can go on to achieve. I wouldn't be surprised if we take the next 2 series in sweeps as well, but I got to bite my tongue because I know there are some pretty stiff opponents to come forwards, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. The likes of 9 Lives as well. That's going to be one of those teams that we're going to look to tip off their shelf if we want to make those qualifications to the major. Of course, with top 4, we do guarantee it regardless, but we do get a little bit of help and a little bit of an easier run if teams like that don't have as good of a run, of course. We see the likes of Genji Mobile 1 Racing, which, of course, we did play in the last Open during the GSL, and they didn't have the best performance, but we'd be foolish in writing them off so quickly because I feel like that's a team that, you know, when they want to wake up, when they want to play the game, they can give a team a run for their money. I feel like that's just still a team that for some reason needs a bit more time in the oven.
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of games that I'm looking at in this game one, other than our own, of course, Pioneers' Complexity is an interesting one for me. I think Pioneers have really struggled to find any footing in the previous two Open Cup 1 and 2, and I think to many they've been a little bit of a disappointment in terms of what their potential could have given way for. I know in the Green Room, Pig, we were mentioning the likes of Aris and talent such as that coming forwards. Aqua as well, combined with JNAPS, one of the greats of this game. They have a long way to go, and I think in terms of making that major, it's completely off the cards for them now. But Complexity, we know what they're capable of. Raiseball, CRR, Diaz, they are in a similar position to us. They know that they are capable of making the major, and for them to be in such a tricky game, dare I say, in that opening match, it could be a tricky one to call.
Yeah, it really is. You've got to feel a little bit bad for them at this point. I know that unfortunately Aries did not have the greatest competition on Saturday. He went over to an EU comp and it didn't quite fall to his favor as well. And it is hard to see because these are such high talents on paper, and just for some reason it isn't quite coming together this open. I feel like there are a few teams that you would look at and expect to do well in the season, and it hasn't quite come to that. All I can just say is, I'm happy that didn't happen to the likes of the Ultimates, because if you want to talk about wasted talent, imagine if this didn't come to fruition. But they have been elite, so nothing to worry about there, right? Touch wood, fingers crossed.
Touch wood, fingers crossed. And Pig, you know what? I've just had another look at one of the games currently ongoing as well. I believe we have NRG versus Pirates on a boat. To spell out a very interesting twist to the tales, currently we have NRG down by a game against Creams, 5-up and Hockey. What on earth is going on? It's a goal towards Poab, and that's not just a goal, that's a series win against our utmost, stiffest of oppositions.
No! I mean, I would love to sit here next to you, Psycho, as a professional, but just as a Rocket League fan, I am shocked by that result. I mean, Pirates on a Boat, they do have the odd upset in them. There's something about that team name, there's something about that logo that brings a different, dare I say, aura to any stadium they're in. But NRG? The NRG2 roster? Are you kidding me? That's a disgraceful performance from NRG. Regardless, I don't care how Pirates on a Boat played. If you've made 11 grand finals in a row and are the current champions, you should never be losing that first round.
Yeah, absolutely. And Poab, Pirates on a Boat, I believe their previous 3 opens have all been 9th to 12th in terms of their finishing position. And before that, looking back towards the early stages of 2024, when things were shaped slightly differently, a couple of top 8s here and there. But like you say, NRG, a giant which has just not missed final after final after final. That is an upset and a half. That is something that many teams going forward, especially that team who has to fight off against NRG, are going to be very, very worried about.
Yeah, absolutely. That means they are going to go into... I can't believe I'm saying this. NRG are going to be going into the 0-1 brackets, and any other team in the 0-1 bracket has been so hard done by this result. Of course, Pioneers here, to be fair, putting up a fight against Complexity as well, and I feel like, Psycho, but if the players are looking around at any other series that have been playing at the moment, if they are keeping up to date with results, surely First Killer LJ Chronic are licking their lips at this. Sad Junior as well. I mean, this is NRG looking at their weakest if they're going to face those kinds of defeats. And, well, the door opens up. If the first team shifts down, surely second can snipe top.
Yeah, definitely so, but it also means there's going to be calamity when it comes forward to that GSL stage as well, because if NRG were to be seeded even slightly unfavourably compared to what we know they're capable of, which is being up there in the top 2 of NA alongside us, Pig, it really could spell disaster for any random team that has to fight them in, say, the quarterfinals or the semi-finals as well. Of course, there is that lower bracket as well to make ends meet if you do fall to them. But it's going to be a tough time regardless. And like we said, I think Complexity definitely the favourites in that series that we just saw a very, very brief glimpse of. against their opposition in the Pioneers. But looking forward towards other results that have come through, well, they're few and far between. We got that series done in a sweep, but just to reel a few off, Team Evo were able to get a sweep across against Revelation, a team of T, Coral, Skippy and Repeat. And Team Evo, I think, need no introduction. The roster of speed-relating Wave and Arju, who I conveniently managed to forget somehow, even though I'm making a content piece about them. Let's forget that, Pig. But Shopify Rebellion also with a 3-0 against Wubtub Pub, and Zookeepers a 3-0 against Tree Lamp as well. So there's only 2 matches on currently going for Group A and a whole bunch over for Group B where we are sat as well. So we'll just try and dig for another one, see what we can find. And yeah.
I do just want to point out here, first of all, I love that you said, of course, with NRG losing that first round, what will it do to the GSL bracket? I tell you what, the GSL bracket's going to be a mess regardless. I think if this season has taught us absolutely anything. But something I did want to bring up is NRG, they're actually no strangers to losing in round 1 of Swiss so far this season. They did in Open 1 drop in Game 5 to the likes of Deleted Gaming in that first round. And in round 4, they dropped to Strictly Business in Game 4. There is a potential here that we could see an even more calamitous Swiss than that first one. Of course, they did go on to win the entire thing, so you could give them compliments for that and say that Swiss stage doesn't matter, this, that, or the other. But I don't know. I feel like having that be their first Swiss stage gave them a little bit of an excuse. What's their excuse this time? For me, it's just not there, especially with it being a Game 4, not even a Game 5. That's just, it's disappointing. It's disappointing.
It is slightly disappointing, and the match we just had a quick peek at, Deleted Gaming versus Lotus A Esports, I do believe that's a relatively one-sided affair on paper. Lotus A Esports, we had the pleasure of running into an Open Cup 2 as well. I believe it was in the first or the second series we played that day. It was the roster of Ren, Nitrous and Wallace. They made a pretty historic run by their sort of standards in Open Cup 2 as well. I know they made massive upsets. What was it, Space Station Gaming or something they managed to push through in Open Cup 2, if I do remember. And of course, there was a whole hurrah as soon as that happened from their point of view, Pig, and a few conversations to come off the back of it as well. But honestly, in that sort of a situation, Deleted Gaming, again, they are up there with the likes of ourselves in pushing towards that major. It's certainly possible for them. They're sat in 7th place at the moment, 8 points total compared with our 15. But if they were to make a miraculous run such as Geek did earlier in the European space, it really is still anyone's game, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. If EU has taught us anything, it's that anything is possible in this beautiful game. It isn't just reserved for NA. It isn't just reserved for EU. Of course, I feel like the big storyline in NA this split has to be Space Station Gaming not making the main event in that second Open. It just goes to show that this has been the season, I don't want to say dreams, I feel like more nightmares for the players, as everything has just been thrown out of whack. But this third Open, hopefully one pattern will stay afloat, and that's going to be the Ultimates improving every single time. We've been 4th, 3rd, we've been 2nd, there's only that one top spot remaining. It's gold, and if NRG is going to be losing to Pirates on a Boat, I will argue they're going to have their struggles against this version of the Ultimates.
And this version of the Ultimates is the best that I've seen, Pig, to be honest with you. That performance against Gas, it was shocking. As you said, played with zero discipline whatsoever. We looked at those 3 players as if they were cardboard cutouts of their former selves. It was complete disrespect. They were just punching bags, ultimately. And from our point of view, that is obviously painting a good picture moving forwards. Now, I do believe there are only a few matches still underway. Of course, if you did want to keep up with the bracket, Liquipedia is your best friend to go towards to keep up in touch with all of the live results as they come through from the Swiss stage. But from myself and Pig, I do believe we'll cut to a quick break. We'll be back with more action from the Ultimates in round 2. See you very soon.
You pull me in like gravity. You do. Changing the way that my body moves. It's true. Without the moon, there'd be no way. Without the stars, there'd be no space. When I got you by my side, you make me feel like I'm the world and you're the moon. I can't go on without being with you, inseparable. All of the stars in the night sky shine bright, but I only got my eyes on you, because we got something more to give. We got something more within. Let it out and show the world tonight. Without the moon, there'd be no way. Without the stars, there'd be no space. When I got you by my side, you made me feel like I'm the world and you're the moon. I can't go on without being with you, inseparable. I need time to figure out what went wrong. Where was the breakdown? But I'm tired of seeing only in gray. Why have the colors all but faded away? But I wanna see the skies again, the sunlight in your eyes. I wanna feel the way I did before the compromise. And I won't I don't know what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side. My love. I don't know what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side. My love, you say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. Come on, you say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose.
You say I'm making nervous, a tragedy, I'm a beautiful disaster, a reckoning, you wonder how I got this way. You think I'm someone to be saved, someone to clean up and tame. Oh, some things never change, never change. Oh. You think I would look pretty on your arm once you cover up my bruises and battle scars, but it always ends the same. Can't bear the things I've had to face, got you crying on your knees in pain. Oh, some things never change, never change. Oh, you'll break your back to make me feel again, suffocate to make me breathe again, lose your mind from endless pain. Some things never change, never change. Oh.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Ultimates TV. You join myself and SirPigasus in Swiss Round 2 in the Open Cup 3, our final journey towards that Birmingham Major on the cards, Pig, and that first series was truly something behold. We witnessed an Ultimates team which really carried forward that same sort of pace, that same sort of tenacity, all the way from Open Cup 2 when we narrowly got beaten out by NRG in the finals, and moving forward we look to be an even stronger unit. And You know what? In Swiss stage number 2, Swiss round 2, Pig, we have a very interesting team we're facing up against, aren't we?
We are. It's one of my favourite fruits. And past that, I don't really have much analysis, to be completely honest. It is pineapple. Woozy, Indigo, and Dizzy are the 3 players listed on that roster. Liquipedia says one of them is retired. Another one says that they do compete in CRL qualifiers for, I want to say, Boise University. Just as my prediction on that pronunciation. And Dizzy doesn't quite have one yet, but we do know he's a North American, and that's about as far as it goes. They didn't have the greatest performances in Open 1 and Open 2, so already this is a really impressive run in the third. And to get a win as well to put themselves in this position, they're on a bit of an upsetting run so far for quite a lot of these teams, but something tells me Ultimates might just be the roadblock here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you are an aspiring player who wants to push yourself up to that upper echelon of play, maybe squeeze yourself through to a top 32, top 16 if you're really playing your best, then if there is a team like this which comes your way, it can either lead to one of 2 things. It can spur you on with so much confidence to go on and achieve greater. And of course, we have to applaud Pineapple for getting where they are now. They had a solid win, 3-1 against Talladega in round 1, I do believe. That was a roster of Oath, Ardum, and Knight. So 3 familiar players, which I think most people in the North American space would come to recognise. But when you do face a roster like the Ultimates, it can either build your confidence because you learn from the very best, or it can make you crash out.
I'm sorry, I've just seen the logo, and that's beautiful there from Pineapple. Nice, simple, does the job. I know immediately what North American team that likely is going to be. But I think we should give this team a little bit more respect, Psycho. Do you want to know why?
Go on.
Because they're on a better record than NRG.
Oh, that's heavy hitting. Come on.
I'm sorry, it's true. It's true. I just had to throw it out there. I just had to throw it out there. Eat your heart out.
Oh!
Oh!
It's Pineapple for dinner. Chronic is a hungry lad. He's pushed this one off the wall, air dribbled it all the way through, and Wuzzy has just gone...
Yeah, he's had him on pizza, or are we not into that in this broadcast? Now, that's a question I want to send to the chat. Pineapple on pizza? Yes? No? Maybe I should focus on the second, current reigning second best team in NA, just, doing stuff like that. So maybe I should pay a little bit more attention to the gameplay here, because First Killer, from his own 6-yarder, has just gone to an air dribble to flip reset double tap. But then again, does Pineapple belong on pizza? I mean, it's just so conflicting being here in the booth.
Oh my goodness, you're kidding me. What is that kickoff? No, seriously, take a chill pill. Look on the left-hand side. LJ's whizzed off. He's missed the kickoff. I think that's like an advanced Spanish. You don't go for the demo. You just go and run off to one side, and somehow they've scored a third.
Mr. Coachman, I can actually come in with a bit here. That is a kickoff strategy that teams have been implementing into their games. Absolutely. I've seen the likes of Luminosity use that exact play in Asia Pacific. It's being used everywhere else in the world as well, where you fake for the first and try and hope that ball bounces off for your first man to run off. And it is essentially unstoppable once they get that first 50-50 to land perfectly. It requires so much reaction time for that last man on the opposing side. And for the most part, they're usually rotating away to those corner boosts regardless. So tough to face, especially with kickoffs in recent history being a bit more automatic than they perhaps should be. Now you have to stay on your toes.
Yeah, it's super interesting that the game is still finding new ways to develop because, quite frankly, as you say, I haven't seen it since maybe these last 2 Open Cups and this split in general. It's a new sort of idea that's been brought to the table, and for the Ultimates, it's new ideas which we are very, very much going to be welcoming in a series like this when, albeit, we're against an opposition which we should beat. Okay, this is now the time to get that confidence high. Make sure all our footsteps are going forwards as we do concede a first hit.
Yeah, I mean, not the best timing here. We'll call that a caster curse from Psycho. We'll take away any blame here from the players on the pitch. But you know what? I'm going to one-up here. I'm going to add a little bit more fuel to the fire, more juju to the curse, I guess you could say here. You say that the Ultimate should beat this team. I'm going to go as far to say they should sweep on paper. I mean, they were the grand finalists, only second to the so-called mighty NRG that are currently sitting in the 0-1 bracket, cough, cough, nudge, nudge. The Ultimate should be winning this in the sweep. It's been a big start so far, which has, you know, still pointed me in that direction. Pineapple still think have a bit more to show, but I think Chronic is going to see his way through that prickly skin.
Absolutely, and also to push forwards. First Killer's trying to break through the defensive end as LJ finds space over to the left in Chronic, back in field, and it's blocked away that time around from Pineapple, who are still very much finding their footing. They want to stride forward with a bit of confidence, but there's two orange players in the corner, and I think at the moment they're really just trying to chase the play.
Yeah, absolutely. LJ off the ceiling here, backboard looming here for Chronic. He'll go for that drop down pass, but Dizzy is able to make that save, and we do have a rare instance where the ball does find its way in the blue half, and Pineapple have to take full advantage of it. Chronic says absolutely not, get that right out of here, and LJ will challenge in that corner, and it feels like a very familiar position. It feels like we've been here for the last, let's say, 3 minutes and 20 seconds. It was in the orange half. But quickly, we transition over, just I say that. I think by the time I finish this sentence, we'll be progressing back towards that side anyway. Or maybe I should shut my mouth and not, you know, try and curse this any further. I'm playing with fire here.
Yeah, wait, you're playing with fire? I don't know if you just saw what I saw. That was really playing with fire. That's like submerging your full hand into a barbecue. It's not a recommended course of action. It's not smart, but they got away with little to no injuries. The Ultimate still 3-1 up as Indigo's going to take over the play, and First Killer whittles the ball to one side, and they're kind of just stacking up in defense for their own solo play opportunities at the moment. And we do know that Pineapple have a bit of pace of play, especially individually. Their approaches, mechanics, they seem to be sharp. Team cohesion maybe lacking a little.
Yeah, but they are showing that fair bit of promise here. They've, you know, got some semblance of positioning between each other. You can tell that individually they've got a bit about them. And I don't think it should be a surprise here that this has been their best performance in an open so far. So who knows? It's going to be a little bit of a break between Split 1, Split 2. Maybe they can come back with a bit more fuel to their fire, I guess you could say here. But the Ultimates for now going to take full advantage of this undercooked roster. Well, I just say that. I don't know what that play was yet again. The Ultimates, I think, are going for, dare I say, another disrespectful sweep like we saw against Gas, where it really isn't the most organized. I feel like, you know, your coach would still be subbing off these players if it was a basketball play and there were, you know, options there on the bench. But a win is a win? Question mark? A win is a win?
Look, from the coaching standpoint, I think they're going to be nice and calm. They're going to be relaxed. They know that the Ultimates boys are ultimately just trying to mess around, make sure they get in the heads of their opposition, but also allow themselves the confidence to move forwards in the series. And, you know, through the Swiss stages, we have known to be this threatening, just monster of a team that will go for every low percentage play imaginable, like you were discussing earlier, Pig. And going back all the way to Open Cup 1, I believe the only games we've ever dropped in a Swiss stage so far were to Shopify Rebellion, and that's a tough team in our third, and again, a series that we won, our third series from Open Cup 1. Moving forwards today, we want to set that record straight. We want to go back to sweeps all around. Open Cup 2, nothing but sweeps. This was the quickest team broadcast you probably ever would have seen, and maybe we're trying to beat that record today.
A little bit lower on the goal count, so I feel like as it stands, we are rushing through the games a little bit quicker than before. First Killer, 2 touches on that right wall, looking to play that one in. Neither Chronic or LJ able to reach that one, but they've done well to drop back quickly, and still you see them reposition, ready to initiate that counter-attack. No forced commits coming out of them now, and they look that bit disciplined, and I think someone said it in our Twitch chat best about that last game. They looked good for 45 seconds, and that was all they needed. And it was similar to when they were playing against Gas, where they scored 2 goals in quick succession in the first minute. They just had a bit of fun between the final 4. Here in the opening, you can see that they are a lot more reserved, a lot more controlled with their play. And I think we'll know once those goals start to be thrown in here by the Ultimates, it might go back to chaos for the 4th and 5th minute. Chronic with a flip reset after the catch, and oh my goodness, that would have been something special.
Pre-jump dunk, air dribble up to the ceiling, reset court, upper 90. Chronic's just throwing everything, including the kitchen sink at the play. His first killer is going to shimmy that ball across after a nice bit of shadowing underneath one. There's only one orange defender left, but there is going to be the cavalry returning for the roster of Pineapple. Chronic all the way now to his own back corner, and he's going to loop this ball across. First killer's going to be licking his lips. They're aiming for a team pinch. It's in front of our own net, and LJ's trying something reminiscent from me in 2019 as a ball comes in field. And, well, at the moment, still very messy, isn't it, Pete?
Yeah, it really is. It's been a bit of a scrappy affair in this second game. I would still give that edge towards the Ultimates, especially with that play that Chronic was able to get earlier. I feel like Pineapple, their time in the opposing half is often siphoned off to those corners, which I think the top teams do so well, where even when they're off the ball, it feels like they're in control of where that ball is positioned, just by the space that they allow the opposing side to quote-unquote exploit, realistically, by just placing those traps and putting them where they want them. And, of course, just timing their challenges with pure perfection. Now is some time for some offense, however. But Pineapple, I think we've got to give them a bit of credit as well. It's clear that the Ultimates definitely having a bit of fun with it, but still, this would already be too tough for too many sides here in North America.
Yeah, and at this point, I've got to say, I think it's too much fun at this point. Pineapple are given some sort of a resurgence in terms of their performance right now. They seem to have a lot more control of the play. LJ looks to be alone as he works this ball in field, and first killer is going to win out that challenge, but two defenders back, so it's very, very comfortable at the moment for Pineapple. That one not so much so, as the ball comes off the backboard, and Wuzzy has to make a very challenging read and nails it to perfection. Still 0-0, still goalless for the Ultimates, and a team that, like you were saying, in Open Cup 2 maybe would have scored 7 or 8 goals come the end of the game against weaker opposition. Now we seem a little bit sluggish.
LJ looking to turn around those tides, put a bit more life into this play. He is stopped there by Wuzzy. This is one of those moments where I think you start to worry, even as an Ultimates fan here. There's only 100 seconds left on the clock, and if Pineapple are able to just squeak one away, call it luck as you might, not as much time there for the Ultimates to make that response. It's why it's vital. First killer takes advantage of that one, straight in the top left corner, and Pineapple are sent scrambling in their own box there, and it all came from a very calculated bump. I love the physical plays when they do come out, but the Ultimates, I do still want to see them get that second, maybe even get that third in these final 90 seconds. I want them with a bit more confidence and a bit more forward-thinking play heading into that third game.
And I feel so sad for Pineapple because I can almost hear the comms from in that last goal. Like their mates just said, you have time, you have time, you have time. There's only one defender back. You have time, you have time. And then suddenly first killer just goes and rams that third man. Dizzy's going to have an open net. What's going on? Not particularly sure. You have time is probably what's going to be spammed our direction if we're not careful.
LJ just had absolutely no interest in defending that one, I guess. You couldn't even say it wanted the corner moves because I think Chronic picked that up. GG's go next. GG's go next. I guess it's still 0-0. First killer will bail the team out quick after the kickoff. And can we just forget that last play happened?
Yeah, I think someone needs to make like a really sort of hype-style montage for the Ultimates through Open Cup 3. Loads of cool dolly cam cinematics. We got color correction going crazy. We got graphics left, right, and center. And then we see that from LJ as he just legs it into the corner with no boost.
Moving on. I mean, moving on. 50 seconds left here in the second game. We said the Ultimates would be looking for a seat. They've had a little bit of a challenge in this second game. I'm not sure how much of it has been to the accord of Pineapple or the Ultimates' very own. Chronic, oh my goodness, is thrown away from that play, and Indigo has been given the green lights.
And I do believe Indigo, of course, being a player which Liquipedia would go on to reference as retired. Absolute nonsense. He's playing against the Ultimates right here, right now, in the second round of Open Cup number 3, and he's drawn an important level score for their roster, who's Only one game down in the grand scheme of things. It could be a third for Pineapple, and they have squeezed it in. We've bitten far much more than we can chew, and that one's going to be very, very hard to savour.
Play with fire. You might just get burnt. First Killer was able to bail out the ultimates after the last kickoff. Will they be able to do it again? And still is LJ taking that kickoff. Similar to that play before, but Chronic's shot will go saved there by Indigo. LJ coming off that back wall. That second touch, however, just finding a Pineapple defender. Chronic sending more charges, flailing back in. And I think we're seeing something here which we've never seen before in a Swiss stage. And it's a little bit of desperation with the way that the Ultimates are playing right now. A little bit more coordinated, much more front-footed. And I feel like that's exactly what you would want to see, but it doesn't pay out. And for the first time in the Swiss stage here on a team stream broadcast with the likes of myself and you as well, Psycho, we've dropped a game. And I would love to say it was because Pineapple had a fantastic game, and it should be all for of them. It was a little bit like a throw. Just a little bit, dare I say. Just got to be honest here. Whilst Danny's not here, I've got to, chuck the cold water on them. And they need that cold water with the amount of fire that we saw.
Absolutely. And I think for us, that is a perfect example of complacency. That's what happens when you maybe fight a little bit weaker than you know you can give, a little bit too much confidence thrown into the play, and when the going does get tough, there's 100 seconds left on the clock like the narrative was going last game around. I had those warning signs start to creep through, and that was Pineapple being brought to a level we had not seen so far in terms of their structure, in terms of their organisation. They were going forwards as if they were a team that could win and ultimately went on to win. Now we need to show them who's boss. We need to put them down before they've got any more fight left in them, as LJ's going to work that ball central. Chronic present to push a 50 towards the right-hand side as First Killer now in prime position to do some early damage with a flick past one, but Indigo, boostless as he is, easy to deal with.
And Chronic, does get caught off of that 50-50 there by Wazzy. And again, I'm just going to have to compliment this Pineapple side on their confidence. They're not hesitating with any of their decisions. But try as you might, you are not stopping LJ when he has that backboard.
What decisions can you make if you're that Pineapple roster right now? You've come off the back of a win. You know perhaps it wasn't the hardest of games that you could have been faced up against in that second match. Now we're showing what we've really got. They're going to be struggling. Dizzy does have a chance. If that bump can connect, no bump found. Infield pass towards LJ. Musty on the cards towards the left-hand side. You can see it from a mile away. And the Ultimates with a comfortable second.
And this is more what we were looking for. LJ with the breezy flick as well. Pineapple were not giving this team space and time, but the moment they do, punishment comes out immediately from the Ultimate. And I feel like that's what we were looking for in that last game. Oh, LJ, do it again. Do it again. First Killer's there. And for a second, I thought that one would be rattling off the crossbar. But can I doubt one of the greatest talents not only North America has ever seen, but RLCS as a whole?
Never doubt this particular trio. We know they are capable of more than just pushing through to a second place in a regional. These guys on a world stage are there to win. And at the moment, as Chronic, who has seen the colour gold in his time at grand finals in past, feeds that ball central. It's going to be a touch from First Killer as well. Playing with their food, but this time, it's not just a mockery. This time they are giving it everything.
They're just showing them who's better. They're showing them who's better, and this is the better way to do it.
No.
First Killer, that's a disgusting catch. That is vile from First Killer. The confidence as well to go for a touch like that. Oh, I need to see that one on replay again and again and again. You can try that in free play for hours and you will never get it that good, if you are even able to score in the first place. Big save coming from FK as well. And just like he was doing in that last open, he is performing to the best of his abilities and bailing out in certain moments as well.
The first killer in his own back corner is going to try and find a little bit of freedom, as Pineapple really are in a position now which they would not have expected themselves to be in. First killer off the backboard once again as the ball tips up high. LJ waiting as third man to get launched into the play himself. He's certainly made up for, mistakes in past, shall we say, from that previous game. Looking forward, half a game remaining, 4 goals to the good be.
The off the ceiling, and he's looking for his own highly mechanical efforts. First killer though, not fooled in this occasion. Indigo does really well to shut down that passing lane, and now the Ultimates in square one in their own half with some high pressure being landed against them. Woozy does well not to overcommit, but still showed his backside there, and LJ was able to take advantage of that open space. That's going to be the one mistake which might just build up to a goal. Chronic doesn't get it, and first killer is blocked by Indigo. And just turning the wrong direction, the slightest bit too far. And the Ultimates are able to spread the team so thin. This is what the best teams in the world do here.
Nice little infield skim, but not too much power on it that time around. First killer, 10 boost in the tank. He's got more than that now as he's trying to bait those orange players to come forwards. They're saying, you push out of your position, and I know I can go across the whole distance of the field. Here comes Chronic. Do exactly that, and he's got support on the flanks. Entering the play, LJ tips up high central. Chronic is there, not off target that time around, and well, at the moment it's possession fully the direction of the Ultimates. It's chance after chance after chance as an astral pinch. Not heard of that one in a long time, Pete.
We've mentioned many mechanics named after players, still yet to see yours. That one used to be called a Devo. First killer, putting his own spin on it. A lovely flick coming off that right wall. And Dizzy, try as you would like, you've been spun in circles.
Yeah, so often are they leaving that back ball completely open for us to have an absolute field day with. And I think they just don't quite realise how quickly we can get these connections sorted out between each other. It's all well and good positioning to deal with one player, but if you have to position for a combination of them, things become oh so much more complex, and I feel like they've just got a line which is a little too high for my likings in the defence. I'd want to see that third man maybe push back to the backboard, but why am I giving them the coaching advice? We're in the driver's seat, Pig.
Absolutely, 5-0 up with 30 seconds left to go. My heartbeat is a lot calmer than it was at this stage during Game 2. LJ looking to try and initiate this counter-attack with nothing in the tank. Indigo will land that demo, but LJ will end up profiting in the boost department regardless. This one not going to find its way off that back corner, and the Ultimates do get a little bit of a victory lap here for Game 3. They have guaranteed themselves that lead. They might just do it in style. 0 seconds left on the clock, and the Ultimates find themselves in a match point in the 1-0 round.
Yeah, it's an important win for us, because to me that shows me that one loss truly was just a fluke in the grand scheme of things. We knew that we were better than that performance we gave in Game 2. It must be said, for Pineapple's point of view, in the last 90 seconds of Game 2, we saw a lot more to the picture. We saw layers of complexity. We saw layers of ability that they hadn't shown in Game 1 whatsoever. But Game 3, we came out of the blocks absolutely flying. It required no more than maybe a minute of play to utterly silence them.
And I feel like what's got to be such a big talking point between Game 2 and Game 3 is how the players on the Ultimates used their, more flashy mechanics to get themselves a competitive advantage. It felt like in that second game, dare I say, it was mechanics for the sakes of mechanics. They were just trying to show off a little bit there. They were trying to, stack up the highlight reel. Where actually in that third game, they got a bit more content for it, but it was by being disciplined. It was about creating that space first for them to have the opportunities to do it and, well, send the defense in a bit of a spin. And I feel like that's, a great lesson there for any players looking to, find themselves at the top level or even, get yourself in some of the higher ranks. It doesn't always have to be RLCS, but it shows that that's still a factor here for the top teams like the Ultimates.
Yeah, and ultimately just trying to make sure that the mental is on tip-top shape is the most important part of these professional players' sort of approach to these games, because ultimately in the training rooms, in the scrims, in all the countless hours they were put towards practice, they are showing that they are the best. They are proving to themselves that they are the best. But on the day, there can be little sort of flutters in the mindset about, if you are capable of overcoming a task. For the Ultimates, we are coming into this game knowing that we are the better side. We are coming in with absolutely no thoughts that we could be beaten, could be tested. As soon as it is shown that we can be tested by Pineapple, boom, the role is completely reversed. We lock back in, we go in with a little bit of humbling, let's say, towards the remainder of the series, and it's easy from there on out, dare I say.
I would have to match you completely on Van as well. The Ultimates, they've established themselves in these first two opens. There is expectations behind this team. I mean, whenever you put a team of LJ, First Killer, and Chronic together, there's always going to be expectations, of course. But this is a team that has never lost a series in the Swiss stage. This is a team that has only been top 4 and above so far in the season. Of course, are going to be looking for that ticket to Birmingham. And you've got to establish yourselves against teams like this. You can't be losing to just anyone. You cannot be losing to Pineapple. And that third game, it made me happy that it felt like the players had that same mentality as well. It wasn't that they backed themselves a bit more, but I think they were doing themselves a bit more respect there by playing at their very best and, trying to push out as good of a result as possible. We do have, I guess you could say, the plus here, Psycho, that with the Swiss format changes, your series score is actually irrelevant to your seeding. It's only about your opponents you play and their series results. It's not how you beat them, it's if you beat them and who you have beaten in the past. So luckily, unlike previous seasons, that one game loss means nothing. And, with a game 3 where we just won 5-0 and it was dominant all the way through, I think for us mentally, just as fans of the team as well, that game 2 truly means nothing as well.
Yeah, it would be a horror story if you could, retrace your steps all the way back from game 2 to realise, oh no, because we dropped that one game, we are now seed 2 out of the groups. We are now facing this team, and then this team, and then this team. It's just not meant to be. The only thing that is relevant, as you say, Pig, is our opponents' performances, which I must be honest, I'm not a complete fan of. Much prefer the old system when it comes to how crucial those individual games that you take are from your perspective. I think as a player, that's all that's relevant. But alas, we are where we are, and of course the glorious RLCS system as it is, I think provides a perfectly competitive field of play for all of these teams to actually show their true colours and worth, bar this maybe one small change. So I'm very, very happy. But nonetheless, working our way into game 4, Pig, we do have some small delays as the players are trying to get themselves ready, get all sorted, good to go as well. I do... Oh, hold on a minute, Pig. Hold on a minute, we have a game! There's a game. Pineapple have scored 2.
Oh, what? Wait, what?
No!
So everything we just said, throw that out the window. It does not matter. The Ultimates are 2-0 down against Pineapple. All that talk about the confidence and, we can forget about game 2. Do not forget about game 2. We do not want to feel this way again. 80 seconds here to try and make that comeback. Oh, what do we do, Psycho? Some professionalism. Let's get back into it. Splash game. Here we go.
All comes across. Pineapple still in firm control of the possession. His First Killer downfield. Central towards LJ with another double touch. Chance buried to the right of the goalpost. The First Killer works his way in. There's not going to be a follow-up from LJ. They're shying away from this play. 50 seconds left. That is going to be a stint of possession the way of Chronic. Lets LJ go smartly so. Nice bit of air control and solo play as Chronic takes over towards the top corner. Still not a first put through.
And Chronic just looking to hold down these lines here in defense. They need those quick counters. They need a play to throw forward here because with 30 seconds left on the clock and sitting 2 goals down, they put themselves in a dire state of potentially falling to a game 5. Like we said, technically the series score does not matter, but at this point, you know, you've got to be concerned whether they are going to go all the way if they're willing to drop down like this. First killer, Demo on the goal line. And with 10 seconds to go, just pray.
And if you're an Ultimates fan, all you need to do is have your eyes on the prize. 10 seconds left. We've seen a few kickoff strategies employed to pull away from 0-0 positions before. There comes the fake. First killer, 100 boost in the tank. Working this ball across, tries to find a 50. LJ up to the air. There's only 1 second left of play, and that ball needs to be controlled from First Killer. It's difficult as it's down off the corner. Dropped underneath Indigo's grasp. And game 5 in this series now, Pig.
I think my camera very much sums up how I feel about that last game. I don't know how that happened. We don't know how that happened. And frankly, I would love to say that we could just, you know, go on and you know, forget about it. But clearly there's an issue here. Okay, first time you can call that one a scuff. You can say, okay, this was a fluke, this didn't go your way. When it happens a second time in a best of 5 series where you don't have that much time to adjust anyways, I'm a little bit concerned heading into this 5th game.
Yeah, it's scary times now, Pegasus, and we're hoping that this next performance can be as disciplined as we saw in that Game 3. And, of course, apologies to all the viewers back at home for the technical difficulties during the last game. And if anything, it was probably a good period of time for us not to see those goals rattled in from Pineapple. I'm sure my confidence would have been even more blown than it currently is. But First Killer, nonetheless, is going to pick up the missing pieces from where they left up. Former glory. Of course, we have not dropped a single series in Swiss across Open Cup 1, Open Cup 2, now into Open Cup 3. We are facing an opposition which really could paint that red colour in the scorecards. And we're off to a sharp start, Pig.
Chronic with a flip reset, dropped there by Indigo. First Killer looking to initiate something here off the corner. LJ wants that top corner. More shots fly in, and Chronic able to hold on to that pressure in the 35 seconds. And I tell you what, much better start than they had in that last game. They didn't score till the final 30 seconds. So you know what? Maybe we might just be the lucky charms. I'm just going to throw it out there.
Double commit from the defense, forced and easy pickings to put away the first. But where is that longevity? Where is that continuation that we know the Ultimates can deliver as LJ tries to find a little floater towards the top right-hand corner as First Killer now is going to get demoed away for his troubles. Ball loose towards our own third. It's Chronic. So much boost to work forwards with these. Limited in terms of the resources in the play, but still holding that halfway line firm. We are going into this game with a level of discipline that is truly strong to see. Chronic bashed out of the play. Could be a chance for Pineapple, but nothing made from that situation.
And Wazzy will send up the wall. First Killer fakes it here for Chronic, and Chronic with time and space. There's going to be a cause for concern here for the Pineapple defense. But Pineapple do well to hold on for the time being. First Killer will snipe this one down. Chronic looming here in the corner, but Wazzy individually has played fantastic this series. But is LJ gonna be too much for this defense? Indigo escapes with his life, and the goal and the game score remains 1-0. Chronic back into this corner, and the Ultimate, they've had all of the pressure in the world. It just hasn't quite found the back of the net, and for a second there, I thought Wazzy was gonna put it in himself.
And LJ searching for a bum. Woo! A little bit of disruption on the back lines. It's paved the way for First Killer to have a whole world of opportunity to himself. And when you give that player an inch, he'll take a mile. Little bouncer to put that one home. Easy stuff for First Killer.
Everything seems easy for him in the current form that he was in during that second Open. He was essentially unbeatable individually. Chronic shots. That was off the crossbar, and that player we were just mentioning now. First Killer. Multi-time MVP, VVIP, and of course, definitely best player in the world at many points in his career. He's not going to let himself drop down to a team like Pineapple in what has been such a good open for him. People have been saying, first killer is back. I would say he never left. I would argue that he might just be reaching a new level. First killer back on the ball, and my point soon to be proven.
Dizzy's got some space downfield to work with, 0 boosters he might have. We're currently submerging all 3 players in our own half. It should be an easy escape for Dizzy. There comes the power clearance, but not too much oomph behind it. And a pre-jump there, desperate to find any sort of touch. Wazzy has a chance. He's missed that crucial follow-up. I do think the defender might have just got a glimpse of the ball in time as first killer down.
Oh. This is what he does. Season in, season out. Ever since he entered the scene as just a 1v1 challenge that nobody knew whether or not he could transition it to freeze. Domination. Taking the series truly in his own hands. Game 5, no stress, no problem. The Ultimate's 3-0 up and they might just extend it.
Absolutely no chance that we are letting this one slip. I'm so sorry for all the Indigo fans. We are putting a nail in the coffin right here and right now. We saw all the calamity from the previous game, but you gotta respect first killer when he's in these positions. He does not miss.
So consistent. Year in, year out, just like I said there, it is insane to have a player like this still at the top of his game in one of the best regions in the world, championing what might just be one of the best teams in the world. This is the Open to qualify themselves for the major. And if you have a first killer that is playing like this, he's just snuck it under Indigo. Last-ditch effort to try and make that save. We might just see them make a very deep run at it.
Seconds left on the clock, and right now LJ is just trying to look to add a bit of flair to his own personal highlight reel. And Dizzy, Indigo and Wazzy, you have to give them full credit at this point. I know coming from the opponent's point of view in a team stream, it's often few and far between we dish out compliments, but you have to remember this is a roster with very few prior experiences at this level of play. They certainly wouldn't have played either Chronic First Killer or LJ in an RLCS matchup in their careers so far. It's a new experience for the trio. Moving forwards, I hope that's going to ignite a bit more confidence in them to do more, but ultimately, well, the Ultimates are a step too far. And moving forwards towards that third matchup, Pineapple may be reignited with a spark of their own.
Absolutely. And I think we mentioned this before during the last Swiss stage. It's nice to have a few of these close games. This time it is a close series because it does force the best out of that roster. I feel like there's a bit of a jump going from a 2-0 round to the 3-0 round where, there is going to be a lot of competition on that side. This is such a beautiful goal to finish it off as well. Chronic off the corner. That one just flies off home. 6, why not make it 7-8? You've got 5 seconds to do so. But either way, the Ultimates have secured victory. And for once, I think we can say, thank goodness it's not the old Swiss system.
Oh, not 2 games that you should drop if you're an Ultimates player, but regardless, I think they're going to be moving past that one mentally as quickly as they can. And of course, being pushed all the way to Game 5, it's not going to change our next potential matchup, Pig. But what it might do is ignite some confidence in the oppositions we might be due to face, because they'll look at this series results and they'll realise that, hold on a minute, this Ultimates roster is human. They make mistakes, and today might be a day where they can be exploited for all of those little issues which might be sparked. But regardless, just to give a quick update on some of the matches that have been played already. We were actually, I believe, the last of our group, or one of the last results to come through in our group. Tech has gone on to beat 9 Lives 3-1. Tech being the roster of Talk, Com and Evo. And 9 Lives really being in there in the conversation for making a major. Currently sat in 4th position with 12 total points. That series is going to mean a huge huge deal to their chances of making a major. Deleted Gaming 3-1 against What's Up. Again, I would think is an expected result that time around. Gen G beating Netherlands Americanada. Finally got that pronunciation right. May have
Oh,
taken
well
me
done.
about 7 attempts. Learn from the very best, Pig. Thank you for that. And looking a little bit further down, we do have some rosters which may be a little bit misplaced, you could say. 100x35, losing that first series and made up for prior mistakes against Lotus 8 3-0 in that series. And Almost Nuts sitting right at the bottom of the table as well, Pig.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a shocking day of performances, I think, all round. But of course, it's nice to see the Ultimates take that Game 5 victory. LJ, Chronic, and what did I call First Killer? The MVP, VIP, ABCD, EFG, HIJK, LMNIP halfway during that last game. I tell you what, it's a game that it's, one of those series that will get you a bit frazzled. Sometimes a bit of chaotics come out, but hopefully for our final series of the day, hopefully it will be the final series of the day if we are able to get that series victory.
It's all about humanity.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, once again to the Ultimates TV channel. You've not had long to wait, courtesy of that nail-biting Game 5 in the last series against Pineapple that we did manage to squeak through with a pretty convincing final game, dare I say. Moving forwards towards the third round of Swiss, this is where it's do or die for these teams that have it all flowing for them, all going well for them. They need that third game to qualify through to that top 16 stage, Pig, and to do so, we have an opponent full of young talents, but also winning potential as well.
Yes, absolutely. It's going to be Tech, a team which was able to make the NA top 16 in the first Open. However, due to, some sign-up issues during the second Open, we were not able to see them perform, unfortunately. That was its own drama within itself. But here for the third Open, they are here to play, and I think they're going to be looking for a little bit of revenge to the system, I guess you could say, Psycho. I think this is truly going to be Tech versus the world versus that third Open, and well, part of the world and past it as well. A celestial force faces them, and that is, of course, going to be the mighty Ultimates.
Absolutely, and looking in towards the complexities of this roster, we have the trio of Talk, Com, and Evo. Now, Talk is probably the most under-the-radar name that you'll come across as a part of this trio, but I cannot overstate enough just how strong of a player this young man is. I believe 17 years of age is Talk, and he's been coming through that NA bubble circuit to the very, very pinnacle of Rocket League in North America with remarkable pace. Now, let us not forget Com as well, a player with so much winning potential to his name from past as well, and was often demonized as being this sort of evil force in the Rocket League scene for being open-minded, for making sure that he voices his opinions loud and proud, but ultimately went on to do brilliant things, especially with version 1, of course, winning a show match over in Gamers 8 against Rule 1 to recent history as well. Massive wins to his name, and well, we're going to get underway nice-ish and sharp and quick, Pig.
And it is going to be Talk with the first few touches coming off their own back wall. Com doing his signature move there with a very early demo against the Ultimates, and that's going to be, I think, a second and third map that you're going to have to look out for here if you are one of these Ultimates players. Very demo heavy. Evo as well likes to get himself a bit involved, of course. A former teammate of Arsenal, another demo man that is played in North America for quite some time. So he's gotten all the right names around him to shape another fantastic player. He's also 17 years old, just like Talk. But we're talking about up-and-coming talent, and then we're talking about those that have been here for quite some time at the top level of North America. Chronic, First Killer, and LJ will not take these youngsters lying down.
And Evo to try and look for a bump off our own back line. Didn't make a connection that time around as LJ with a double touch chance down in front of Evo. No shot put on target as the Ultimates are going to try and work their way forwards with a little bit of solidity. It's not going to be a case of throwing yourself into the play this time around and hoping something sticks. It's going to be make it stick, and forcefully so.
Talk coming off the ceiling, like to show some of the mechanics that the youngsters always have a reputation of having on a roster. First Killer to try and top over sidewall read. That one doesn't quite come together, so it is going to be LJ sending this one high. Talk drop down yet again. You can already feel that this is going to be a serious series between these two sides. If their victory against 9 Live wasn't enough of a finger point, that first goal certainly will be.
It's a gorgeous play from Talk to hit that ball high, and Chronic bit the bullet. They knew that they had to get up for that ball quickly and try and block away a potentially unreactable shot. And for the Ultimates, it's an early goal to slip up on. Tech fully earned the opportunity as Evo now has a chance for a double touch off the backboard. Nails it in front of net towards First Killer, but he has boost and an escape route towards that left-hand corner as LJ's going to pick up the pieces. Big air dribble down the field now. No support from First Killer in the likes of a bump, but solidity to keep the attack going.
But now it's LJ having to chase back here. Evo just wanting to take some type of forward space here. Com will look to take advantage of that forward press as well. And Tech, if you look at the players on paper, this is going to be an aggressive side when they're on the offense. Defensively, however, we might just find some issues. Lovely bump from LJ, and First Killer doing what he does best.
Brilliant bit of heads-up play from LJ and First Killer, and First Killer just wanted to sneak that ball exactly where the bump was going. So there's just no chance of that keeper escaping that grip, and I do believe that placement utterly intentional down the centre of the net from First Killer, as the Ultimates with that important equalising goal are looking to make it 2. Now off the wall from First Killer, a pre-flip into a catch into Chronic and down underneath, but now Com with 0 boost, still an easy time to get this ball away.
And again, it is going to be Chronic finding himself on that back wall with a bit of offense to face here. Evo lurking up at that corner. Com is quick on the jump, but First Killer will get that beat. That first touch has come to fruition, and again, like I was saying in those previous series, make a mistake and the Ultimates will spread it as thin as they can. You can see that change in possession here, and Tech have had to keep themselves a cool head here to get away with it. LJ looking to progress once more. Demo's flying out. Chronic wanting to break their way through, but Tech proving to everyone here watching they are up to the races in this series.
Gorgeous glancing touch from First Killer. Just a sniff away from being on target, but Com has a chance. It's been cut away swiftly. LJ towards the left-hand side with no boost. Maybe only 10 on the contact itself. Unbelievable attempt. Now First Killer towards the back corner. Evo and Com looking a little bit cautious. Who's going to go next? It's LJ.
Oh.
Talk is narrowly taking that ball away.
We can start to see those glistens now in the final minute. That goal is looking a little bit golden. You do start to think that that third goal will be the decider of this opening game. Com landing a demo, but Chronic looking to fight through against Talk. LJ does get that read here against this man. Chronic wants to keep that forward pressure. That whiff, however, is going to rely on First Killer getting that second touch. Get quick here on the counter. 30 seconds looming, and you can feel the pressure that both sides have been feeling so far in this first game. It feels important. It feels like it does put that team into the driving seat for the rest of the series. The Ultimates looking to try and get it done in regulation, but Tech not making it simple. 10 seconds left on the clock, and you're gonna start to see that yellow text on the screen. The pressure starting to get applied here. Will we see this one go to an overtime? Com doesn't want it to do so, but LJ will settle for it. Psycho, it's an opening overtime.
Chronic up quickly, pushing that ball into the defensive corner, and LJ's there to strike. He's there to pounce, and he's there to run away with it. An open lane and red carpet delivered all the way through to put the first game on the board.
And it's not the prettiest goal, but you've got to give some credit there for First Killer in the corner for sniping out that pass in a tight position, even with a teammate right next to him, still taking that initiative. And it's not easy as well to play it behind you like that into your own box. You get that slightly wrong, Psycho, we would be talking about a Tech Game 1 winner. At the same time on the clock there. High risk, but we feel the reward. Ultimates full to the brim with confidence.
It's a smart bit of positioning from LJ. That much has to be said. And to be honest, through game 1, I had my worries. I saw many a situation where I know that Tech could have converted. I glanced back to a 1v1 chance that Com had. I believe it was on First Killer at the back lines. He looks in such a difficult position to do anything about the play, and yet we held on as Tech now advancing towards our goal line already as the seconds tick down. That's an overextension. That's a chance for LJ, but it's just over the crossbar on the follow-up.
And we know how important these individual goals are as a 1-goal difference. Forced out in an overtime! That made the difference. This passing play could make the difference. Solid 50 from Chronic, and First Killer, the 1-2s with LJ have been consistent all day. Carry this into the main event. And not only will we have ourselves a major contention, we might just have that little bit more.
Erase the pages of history from the previous series. We've grown from our mistakes, and LJ all the way down across on a beautiful tip-up infield is there to path the Ultimates way a little step closer to that Birmingham Major.
I said that first game would fill the winning team with that confidence, would put them in their driver's seat. But even I couldn't have anticipated being 2-0 in the lead here with the first minute coming to its end. A huge start coming in here from the Ultimates, and it is night and day compared to what we saw in that first game. And that's not to say that Tech haven't been fighting back. They've looked strong in their own regard. The Ultimates have just been able to cook themselves up to that extra gear, which I feel like we've been waiting for all day, Psycho, especially with how that last series went.
Definitely so, and first killer needs a little bit of support. Thankfully, LJ and Chronic are just sat there and waiting to pick up that loose ball. Here comes LJ up for a difficult read. Made it look like a piece of cake as Evo now infield, blocked away by Chronic, pre-positioned nicely on that backboard and hoofed it all the way the distance towards that upper 90. 3 minutes 20 left on the clock as LJ's going to play the possession game here. Didn't want to throw away that ball nice and quickly to the opposition for free. They need to earn their stint in the blue half.
First killer 50-50, then Talk trying to earn his way like he calls for. Chronic bomb tough to play. First killer though, you're not going to beat him, Com. You've tried many a time before in the past, but he is still that good. LJ holding on here on the backboard. First killer's thrown out the player. Now Com gets his second opportunity to try and find someone inside, but instead just blue cards away. It's LJ, and Chronic opens up a space with that demo, and he'll get the goal himself as well. First killer straight out the blue, finds the sea of it.
And that infield positioning has been the crux of what's given us so much success in this game, Pig. Every single time that there is even a yard of space towards that midfield, we have a player down there. We're exploiting those gaps. Tech looks scared. They look worried.
Oh.
They look as if they've got no fight left to give. Chronic, pre-position, pre-jump across the field, down from the ceiling for a fourth.
And the monsters have come out from under the bed. The Ultimates are here in ultimate form. And how will Tech respond? 4-0 to the good. Second half of the game only having just begun. The Ultimates really have established themselves. That one will act as a pass to Evo. But with first killer on the goal line, who cares what mistakes they're making as that first man? Such quality behind this team. His first killer yet again on his goal line. And it is not just offensive heroism we see from these three players. They've got a taste of that in defense as well. And it's FK yet again on that backboard. I mean, do I even bother saying it? Just assume at this point.
And sometimes all it takes is a single play to reignite the flames, get that passion back where it used to be. And the Ultimates, ever since those early connections in game number 2, have looked to return back to former glory. Here comes LJ with 100 boosts, skirting underneath one. He's got 20 boosts to wrap this ball around. Chooses to go for the backboard instead of the infield. Wise to keep the possession flowing as now Chronic allowed into the play. Another infield snipe towards LJ, that time blocked away.
And Com looking to bump first killer off. LJ though, happy to take this one on the overlap. Evo is not going to be able to get a second touch. It's all going to be first killer, 50-50 high. But with such high boost counts in the defense for the Ultimates as well, it's going to be a very, very hard brick wall to fight through. Chronic again out that front post. First killer will steal it off him for the pinch. That one goes corner to corner. It's given away here to Talk. And I tell you what, that's a lovely layoff pass there from Evo.
Look at that pass from Evo. That is delicious. And LJ was sat by that front post. He thought that ball would just come straight around the corner. Wasn't meant to be. A musty touch all the way infield, completely catching that defense off guard. And from Tech's position, they need to get creative with the play. They need to get inventive with what they're doing going forwards, because, as you've been saying time and time again, we've got all those areas covered. It's often first killer you see hovering on that backboard to just wave goodbye to any sort of an opportunity. And now downfield pre-position is Chronic. Free jump comes through in a bump as well. I don't know what's going on. It's all sorts of... What's going on, Pig?
Chronic wanted that goal so badly, but he says, LJ, absolutely not. You will not steal this one away from me. I have worked so hard to set this one up. You are not getting a sniff of my points. Oh my goodness, what a
The thing
game.
is, Pig, as much as I want to laugh, I also want to cry, because when I start seeing that from the Ultimates, I get reminiscent of the Pineapple matchup.
No.
I never want to see the... No! What is he doing? Where are you going, son? Hit the ball forwards. That's it. First kill downfield. Grab some boost, go for a bump and create something. I don't want that ball in front of her own goal. I'm going to be terrified.
You know what I think happened there? I'm going to be honest with you. I think LJ, was facing his own backboard and thought, hold on a minute. I know a certain someone is sitting in the caster's booth.
Right.
And someone else on the pitch there said, absolutely not. You can't just sit here and throw because Psycho is in the VC, okay? We're not going to give you that title. You will not be the first player to Psycho in front of Psycho. That might be one of the other Ultimates players. They might be competing for your hand, They might be competing for your hand.
If I'm not mistaken, I think one of the cleanest I've ever seen was from Talk. So if that if that has anything to say about it, I'm just going to ignore that possibility, okay? The Ultimates, I mean, come on. It's been another stellar game from us. Infield chance after infield chance, we were nailing those connections. We were able to find each other in the midfield, from the defense to make escape routes, in the attack to keep that presence flourishing. We saw that gorgeous ceiling pre-jump as well. Crossfield play from both ends, colliding central. One of the most beautiful plays I've seen in a long, long time, and something that goes all the way back to freestyle heritage. You look back to the 2017, 2018 days, you do that fake kickoff, both players run off wide. That's exactly what happens in the textbooks. These days, we're seeing it live on the RLCS channels as if it's nothing.
It brings a tear to the eye. It really, really does. That kickoff almost did as well if it flew all the way into the back of the net. Chronic does not concede that easily. First killer does well to send this one long as well. Com finding Evo on the inside. Talk will rotate back because Chronic is going to be applying all that pressure. Had to decide between ball or man. Settled for both, and unfortunately caught neither. It's going to be Evo long yet again. Com looking for that doink. A subpar but in HD special, and first killer again on the goal line. Bell done the ultimate first. He'll go for a second, but Talk got that perfectly into that top corner. And this is exactly what the Ultimates forced out of them. Because if they didn't go all the way, FK had that covered.
It's a three-man effort from Tech. And the Ultimates were caught sleeping. It's one goal dropped early on towards a crucial game to push us through towards that top 16 environment, as LJ is going to let that play simmer down towards Chronic. 50 found on Com. It's going to pave a way for first killer into the play. Maybe look for a bump on the backboard himself. Didn't find anything. There's now... It's going to be a huge pinch downfield from Tech in front of our goal map. Double commit from the Ultimate, speeds the ball downfield. End-to-end stuff is the phrase you'd probably hear. And Tech now have a runaway goal for themselves. 2-0 to the orange side. And we've gone from court to court to court in the blink of an eye.
End to end, but it's in the wrong one for us here on the Ultimate stream. 2-0 to Tech. Ultimates, of course, having that double-edged sword of dropping early here with these first two goals. At the same time, having all the time in the world to try and catch that back. LJ's up for this one off the kickoff. That one flies on home. And now it's going to be Chronic Com, positioned unusually high for this play, but I feel like that is going to be your reason why. Trying to hunt those demos from the back, trying to be a nuisance here for the defense, and you can see the awkwardness it has created for the Ultimates at that front post. Ultimately, they are able to survive a few seconds longer, but oh my goodness, it is just unrelenting when you are against him.
That ball's going to drop down. Brushed away by first killer. And Chronic to continue the play towards the offensive half this time around. We've not spent too long of a period of time this game in that orange half. It's all been about that defensive effort, and so often Tech rather, delivered more than you could possibly imagine. Here comes another shooting chance for Com. Seen away to the corner. LJ now double touch. He'll find his way past one defender. At the moment we have to pick our battles, and we're still losing out on the defense.
First killer with a nice first touch. Couldn't quite get that second, but Evo is looking awkward there on his goal line. And now the ultimate, smelling blood in the water. Strike cap for defense. Well, that one just flies high and wide here. They need to take advantage of these opportunities, these positions that they are finding themselves in. Because, dare I say, time starting to run out here. We do enter the second half of this third game. And if it's a sweep they want, they're going to have to earn it fast. Chronic can't get this one on target either. It feels like a lot of half chances have gone in the way of the ultimates, but Tech have just been able to force through their quarter chances instead. They have played so well in this third game. Prolific, I feel like, would be the word to describe them.
And in the losses we have suffered so far in this Swiss stage of Open Cup number 3, I think it's fair to say most of them were our own undoing. This time around, Tech have come forwards with a delightful performance. You can't say anything else, but that as a 50 in front of net from Chronic baits out the defenders into thinking the flick would have been there instead. Com above one last defender. It's 3-0 towards Tech. Are there some question marks getting thrown around towards this late stage?
I feel like you're always going to throw down those questions, especially when you do go 3-0 down. And if we're being honest here, Psycho, Tech have just played really well. Com especially has been playing really well. It's all that off-the-ball action he does that makes all the difference, causes a bit of those jitters there in defense. Well, we mustn't forget as well, he was formerly a high-level 1v1 player, so once he does get himself on the ball, plenty of control behind him. There's a demo off that play. First killer, though, can't wrap himself around to take advantage of it. And now it's getting really desperate if we're hoping for a sweeping result.
Now LJ off the ceiling trying to feed this ball in field, has beaten 2 defenders. Here comes the third. First killer to the backboard. Chronic's gone up as well, the desperation showing. And I think at the late stages of the game, you do need to give it everything because there is so much work left to be done. Unfortunately, one step too far for the fourth.
Yeah, and this one will surely decide here the third game. It will go to the favour of Tech, which are a team at the moment that are going to be looking to reverse sweep their way into the main event. And I'm sorry. We can't let that happen, can we? We can't let that happen. I do want to see a little bit of life in these last 45 seconds. I'm always a strong believer that, you know, there's a bit of series management as well as game management. We can throw the game away, but still, just for some of that momentum to start game 4 with, give yourself a shot with some late opportunities here in these final 30.
Yeah, Tech, to be fair to them, have managed to patch up all of those sort of entrances into the play that we had in the previous game. We reminisced upon those gorgeous infield plays time and time again. This time Tech going forwards with some aggression in that first and second man as well to cover those gaps. At the moment, just holding on to that defence. They're trying to make sure that we can't get any sort of an advantage, even from a defeat. And that ball is going to hit the floor, Pig. Do suffer a game against Tech.
And I just want to take a second here to just reel back the history of this season so far. I've discovered that this is not the first time that the Ultimates and Tech have actually met in a Swiss stage. Of course, they only played in Open 1 this season due to, you know, some sign-up issues. We actually faced them in round 1, of which the Ultimates were able to take it via the nature of a sweep. So already we're seeing there's improvements here from Tech since that last matchup. And, you know, having that second open out, and of course having Hammer as well as the coach behind them, and the experience of Com on that team, and of course just the wild card factor of not knowing, you know, how fast these youngsters can improve in the game. The Ultimates have been given a bit more of a challenge in this series, but still, I just have to sit behind them, not just because I'm on this broadcast, even off it. I just back them in these later games that they're able to clutch up. They were able to do it against Complexity. They should be able to do it against Tech.
Should is the key word. Getting it done is a different story as Talk is going to find a first goal. The Ultimates, we know we are capable, but the difficulty comes. We're under the pressure, highest sort of levels. Talk, good cut, smart one as well. 1-0 to Tech.
23 seconds only gone, and Tech getting that first goal is going to be an even colder shower than Game 3 already was here for this Ultimates roster. It's when it starts to feel real. It's when it starts to feel like it wasn't a fluke here, and this Tech team are certainly here to play. The team bump between Chronic and LJ certainly not going to help. He's on the back foot for this one. First killer gonna have to desperately flip this one forward with nothing in the tank. And now Chronic versus Evo. Evo hasn't got a touch to it really, but neither has Chronic, so it's gonna be all LJ here in the corner. First killer running himself around this one, having to be smart when he's got nothing to hold on to. And with how high and aggressive Tech play, especially the likes of Com, you end up scrambling for these corner boosts, even some of these pads, and it can lead to you getting stuck into your defenses. But we know that once the Ultimates escape, that's when the real action starts. And here we see Chronic to LJ here, looking to make something happen off this backboard.
It's an impossible angle, sadly. He tried to feed the ball back towards the incoming second man. First killer now off the backboard. Surely there's got to be a shooting chance here, but LJ is a little too deep. Possibly recovering for that boost game. First killer all the way down and double bump. The Ultimates using that first and second to their absolute fullest degree. Now LJ back into the play. 100 boost as well, up to the ceiling. Lofted through to that final third. We can see the sustained pressure. It's making Tech really have to struggle. Force them to be in those picture-perfect positions, but they have done just that.
And usually those infield passes, they've been guaranteed goals every single time. But Tech are just that step higher compared to the opponents we've had before. First killer has LJ as an option, wants to go alone. And the defense was there to hold down the 50-50. Again, we are approaching that halfway point, but Chronic won't let it happen without a response. Finally, that offense that the Ultimates were able to hold on to has rewards to reap. And now there looks like there could be some momentum built behind this blue side.
Booming shot on target straight off of kickoff as that ball falls in field. Com can only put that ball high, and Chronic is licking his lips. He wants an opportunity for a double touchdown. Hold on, LJ also wanted a little glimpse of an opportunity himself, maybe snuck an inch too high up the field as first killer now. Bail out from defense, as he so often does in those controlling positions on the field. Cautious into that entrance of the play. 2 minutes left on the clock. Tech entering that blue half again.
And Evo demonstrates off LJ with a little bit of space in front of him. Com will be looking to shut it down. Instead, that pinch has gone more into the favour of the Ultimates. Boost forced out there from the Tech defence. Turned offense now. If Com can initiate something, first killer shuts that one down at the halfway line. More real estate found in this orange half. The Ultimates have stepped up in this fourth game compared to what we saw in the third, compared to even what we saw in the first minute. Everything's changed quick. I thought I cursed it for a sec there as LJ did let that one dribble through him. Still able to keep himself with some boost in the tank, and first killer's clearance might just create something special.
LJ now for something special with a 50, and Evo has done so well to regain control of that ball. Now it's going to be taught to take over. He's got a free bit of fresh air, but first killer's on the ceiling. Hold on, what's he up to? Flicks it up down towards Flick. It's on target. It's an unbelievable passing play. And first killer had all the time in the world to pick his spot. Found it straight back to the goal scorer. We are not here to play.
Try as you like. What can you do? What are you supposed to do when First Killer is looming on your backboard and treats it like his own? Reality bends to his will. The Thanos of NA, he is inevitable every single season, every single series. The lead gained here for the Ultimates, and they just have to hold on for the final 45.
First Killer no boost and demoed out the play, and Chronic bumped, but he's recovered with a wave dash to hoof that ball forwards past the halfway point as LJ now in that back third. First Killer in hot pursuit behind, on target towards Evo, and shied away from the placement that was needed. There's now Comp to do a solo play all by himself. Evo's there to follow up eventually. 20 seconds now, Chronic with time to kill.
And it's still a game on a knife's edge, 15 seconds, only one goal required here from Tech to make all the difference, but the Ultimate look to be the side that are more likely to score with how aggressive they have played. This is not a team that's sitting back, that's not a team that's looking to hold the fort, they're looking to increase their defences with goals, and a final save there on the goal line will see the Ultimate go 9-0 in Swiss throughout Split 1. My goodness, Psycho, you've got to love this team.
Unbelievable for the Ultimates, and I'm sure all the guys in chat are going to be certainly happy with that final game. We had our slip-ups, we had our messy moments. Let's not just throw that behind and forget it happened. We got to acknowledge it, we got to move on. But what's important is you get through with that 3-0. That's what we got. The seeding going to look pretty. It's going to look pretty towards that GSL stage, SirPigasus, and ultimately we need a top 4 result. That's what we're coming here into this Open Cup 3-4. That's what's going to propel us through to that Birmingham Major, and let's not forget, that is the most reasonable goal on the eyes of these players. Of course, you can look further than that towards the likes of Leon, but maybe you just got to look at what's ahead of you for that motivation, and of course, Birmingham, not so long away. Pig, we're one step closer.
We are a step closer to Birmingham, and if we want to take a step even closer to where we are right now, Psycho, I mean, we qualified for the main event. This is still open number 3. I don't think that first place spot has NRG's name etched on it yet. I think the Ultimates might just have something to say about that. I do think our seeding should, fingers crossed, be good, because facing the likes of Gas in the first round and Tech in the third round, you expect them to do decently in the Swiss. Even if they don't qualify, you'd expect them to get to those later stages. And that is how the BU system works. It's all about how far your opponents actually go in their run. It's a little bit confusing, but I think for once it might just be in our favour, Psycho. And I tell you what, if we want to talk about a moment of the day, call it recency bias. That last pass from First Killer, what on earth was that? I've never seen anything quite like it.
I'll tell you what, it's a split between that one and the old homage to the freestyle days for me, where we had both players on either sides of the court, a pre-jump down from the ceiling and a goal slammed home. Between those two moments, the Ultimates have shown their tenacity and their creativity when the going gets tough. And Tech made it tough for us. Let's not forget, that Game 4 was a nail-biter. It was that one moment of magic that really made a difference for us and propelled us through to that overall crucial series win. And Pig, I do have some good news for you as well. We speak on the book ult system and how important it is for our opponents to progress far. Well, luckily for us, Gas have managed to take a win in their round 3 matchup against Pineapple as well. So they're one game away from progressing through with a 3-1 scoreline for themselves. I believe you can catch the action live on Squishy's channel himself as well. But across all the other games that are going on, not too many results to come through. We're one of the first in this round 3. And what an important result it was.
Absolutely. The only other team that I see confirmed for the main event is, well, turned off fierce rivals Complexity Gaming. We always find them at some point, Psycho. We always find them at some point. And I tell you what, bring them on.
Let's have it. Let's take it to them once again. We've lost to Complexity before. We've beat Complexity before. We know it can go either way, but we also know that the Ultimates is a transformed unit. And moving forwards, you spoke about how NRG might have to have that name etched off of their split win. And I do believe that that is the honest truth. Moving forwards to the GSL stage, moving forward to the playoffs, in fact, we can go in with a massive smile on our face. But of course, there is still so much work left to be done. Moving forwards towards that GSL stage beyond today's action, February 28th. You do not want to miss it. Be live on the Ultimates channel. From myself and Pigasus, we're going to call it here, but it's been an absolute pleasure. See you then.